This show is a member of the PlanetSide Podcast Network. To learn more, go to planetsidepodcasts.com.
Welcome to I Shouldn't Have to Say This, the podcast where we discuss topics we believe requires critical and nuanced thinking. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at saythiscast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at saythiscast or go to saythiscast.com to hear previous episodes.
Hey, Party Podcast people. Welcome to the show. I'm Nicole, and I'm joined here today, as always, by my co-host, Janra.
It'd be kind of weird if I don't think that we've done a show where where I wasn't on.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we have either. Yeah. I've been off one.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when I was talking to my grandpa, I think that you were like there, but you weren't.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we're equal. All right.
You're equal.
So because that matters right now. Mm-hmm. So what are we talking about this week?
We're going to consider the case of the sad boy.
The sad boy.
Yes. So a few weeks ago, I saw a tweet that was saying, people are really mean to men who cry during breakups, and they say that that's manipulative behavior. But I, for one, think that it's not manipulative behavior. And I recoiled because I'd never heard that in my fucking life. I've never heard that just a guy being sad and crying during a breakup was manipulative. Now, I do have to eat crow on that because a week later I saw the tweet that this was probably subtweeting, and that's exactly what the woman was saying, which is super fucked up, obviously. Refer to the last episode. However, the more common line that I hear discussed is the way that sometimes a sad boy meaning a boy with depression who kind of wallows in that in kind of an active way. So like choosing to be sad and choosing to make that everybody else's problem around them. Not to be confused with people who are simply depressed. A sad boy is a different beast.
Right.
So there are a lot of people that I know who've been in relationships with sad boys. And something that happens a lot is they'll try and leave. They'll try and leave their relationship for whatever reason. Like most of the time, it's not anything like particularly spectacular. And what will happen is that the sad boy will start crying and go like, "Oh my God, I can't live without you. I will literally kill myself if you leave. Oh my God, what will I do? Please come back to me. Oh, I'll do anything if you just come back to me." And this behavior is fucking manipulative. And even though it's accompanied by crying, the fundamental thing is, if you don't stay in a relationship with me, I'm going to kill myself, which is a threat. It is a threat to make somebody feel like they have blood on their hand if they don't submit to a relationship that they don't want to be in. And this is a really pernicious thing, because if you point out what's happening and you say, "Hey, dude, that's manipulative. You're behaving in a manipulative way." They're sad and they're suicidal, and you just called a sad suicidal dude a manipulative shithead. So we flipping a coin on whether they live or not? Like, you can't say that to them in the moment. However, the fact remains that a lot of people get stuck in relationships for way longer than they want to because of this type of behavior. And it's manipulative. And we aren't able to talk about it because we don't have good language for discussing manipulative behavior like that. So what do I mean when I say like that? So I'm going to put out an assumption here because I know a lot of sad boys. I have a lot of sad boy friends, probably some of which have acted in some pretty dumb fuck ways while being broken up with. I hope not to that degree, but nonetheless, people try and get broken up with. They get really sad. The other person feels culpable and comes back. And that sucks. The feeling that I get, this is just a feeling, is that the sad boys in these situations are not saying, "I'm going to pretend to be sad," or "I'm going to say things that I don't mean," or "I'm going to vocalize these things with the intention of getting her to stay because otherwise she'll leave, and I'm going to maliciously and intentionally do this to her because I'm evil." It's not usually what happens.
Bwaha, bwaha, ha, ha.
Bwahaha, bwahaha. Dexter's Laboratory. Anyways, typically it's more, I'm sad and I'm going to say everything that I feel. And one of my feelings is that this is her fault because I'm a shithead. You can take that how you will. All men are kings except for the men who make their psychological well-being somebody else's problem.
The assumption should be that men are fine until they do something shitty, just like everybody else.
And then a lot of fine people do shitty things sometimes. I just want to draw a distinction because I'm not trying to say that mentally ill guys who get sad after getting broken up with their shitheads.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the thing is that it's not just that they get sad or they might self-harm. That is a normal occurrence. That is in some ways like a way, like a normal way to react to being broken up with, depending on the situation. The problem is that when these people put the entire onus of their reaction on the person breaking up with them, taking no responsibility and basically blaming them for the ills of the world.
Yeah. So in other words, it's shitty because they're being manipulative and they're putting somebody in a really shitty situation, but it's not conscious. And I think that that's a really important point. I think that we consider manipulation something that people actively engage in. They say, how am I going to get the result that I want? Oh, I'll do these things and I'll get these things. And then they'll do what I want them to do. But quite often we kind of are just doing things, wanting things, and then behaving in ways that get us closer to our goals of the things that we want without thinking much about the other person. For the sad boy, they want the other person not to leave and they want to be in a happy relationship. Now, to the not mentally ill mind or the mentally ill mind in a lucid moment, you cannot be in a happy relationship and stop somebody from leaving a relationship. That's not how that works. They still want to leave. Spoiler alert for anybody who might be in that situation currently. Just leave. But to them, they just want the person to stay. That's all they know. And they're saying things that they think will make them stay, which is bad. But not bad because they're bad people and they're doing manipulative things in order to get what they want without any thought of the other person. It's because they're being thoughtless while doing it. It's not a conscious effort. And I think that we need to consider manipulation something that we do, we human beings, but also more broadly than that, just living things with consciousness do without much thought at all. Some examples. Babies crying or doing things that they know will get them food or attention, regardless of whether they know it's good or bad. Adults doing the same thing. Dogs begging because they know that you'll give them food. They aren't doing it because they hate you. They're doing it because it works. If the sad boy cries, the person stays. If the sad boy doesn't cry and put their entire mental well-being on the other person's shoulders, then the person leaves. Seems pretty cut and dry, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks. I really wish that we could have more honest conversations about this. Because when it comes to being manipulative, these are tendencies that we all have. It's a really shitty lie that we tell ourselves sometimes when we say, like, I would never manipulate another person. Because, spoiler alert, you did when you were a baby, probably. When you cried, when you engaged in certain behaviors, you did those to get the adults around you to do things for you. That's how we're wired. There wasn't any malintent. You just did things to get what you needed.
Right.
And similarly, I think a lot of people engage in some pretty shitty behavior, completely and totally devoid of malintent. And when we try and talk about that by saying, like, hey, man, that's manipulative, that carries so much baggage with it that you lose the original thread. If I walk up to the sad boy and I say, you're being manipulative, right? Do you understand that, like, you're not going to be in a good relationship if you make this person stay? You need to take responsibility for your own mental well-being. This is your physiology that's causing you to be suicidal, not the breakup. The breakup just is. Typically, the person will ignore all of the rest of the shit that you said and say, I'm manipulative. I'm a bad person. I'm gonna run to the rope shop.
The rope shop?
But two and two together.
Oh.
Jeez. That's not funny.
It's kind of funny.
It's funny. But that's not terribly good for anybody involved. It's certainly not good for their partner who can't leave still. And it's not good for the guy because he's not understanding, he's thinking, this is just the way I feel. I'm not being manipulative. Or like, oh God, like, are my feelings manipulative? Like, is the way that I feel manipulative? And the answer is, yeah. I mean, of course it is. To personalize this, a few years ago, I got broken up with and I was really fucking low. And the thought crossed my mind super quick that, like, she asked me, "Are you okay?" And I like got like a dialogue tree answer where like one was like, "No, the whole line, the sad boy routine." And the
Right.
other one was, "No, but you broke up with me, so not your problem. See you later."
No, I'm not okay. This sucks. Bye.
Like, no, but like, what do you want to, like, you don't want to do anything about that. So like, obviously not. And then you walk away and you deal with your, and I dealt with my mental state on my own. And that was the first time that I could remember having an experience where, like, I consciously had the thought, the urge to do something really fucking shitty and really fucking manipulative. And I chose in that moment to deny myself that. And I think that a lot of the times when we think of ourselves as people who are not manipulative or have zero manipulative tendencies, then we're not often paying attention to our behaviors to watch for manipulative tendencies, if that makes sense.
Kinda, yeah.
So if I don't think I'm manipulative, if I think, I'm just gonna do this so this other person will do what I want, and like, no problem, I might not stop to say like, okay, I could totally do that, but is that fucked up? And I wish we could do more of that, I guess. I just looked at my outline and it said, "Stupid baby Nora manipulates me." And that's totally true. Stupid baby Nora does manipulate. I think that might be the whole thought. I really have a hope for us to be able to talk about manipulation more honestly. I think that a lot of people engage in some really shitty manipulative behavior, but the moment that you try and call it out, like, oftentimes, when white women do you've seen the videos before, like a white woman's doing something mad fucking out of pocket and somebody tries to call her out and then she starts crying and calls the cops. That's mad fucking manipulative. And like, they're always bad people, but like, let's just divorce that for a second and look at that as like, a situation where somebody says, "I'm being called out for my poor behavior. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to manipulate this situation actively in order to get things to go another way." And it's hard to tell people who might not be bad people all of the time, like, hey, you might have tendencies like that. Like, hey, when the black woman says, like, when you get into like work beef with the black woman and you're both like, adults over the age of 30, and she just said something like, edgy but not too bad, and then you started crying and she got fired, that was manipulative, Karen. And Karen might say like, "No, I just felt bad." But it's like, I wasn't trying to be manipulative. And it's like, your active effort wasn't necessary for that to be manipulative. You knew that crying would make people feel sympathetic. It would make her look more aggressive than she was actually being. So you cried. That's what you did. And that's the important thing to call out and to interrogate. And it also gives us more of a moral imperative to say, hey, this is something that I want to do or I want to convince somebody else to do. Is this manipulative? And if so, is this fucked up? That's something that we should think of way more often when we're trying to interact with other people. And that's the point of the episode. This is a half thought. I've been mulling this over because I'm working with clients And often managing clients just kind of means like, I'm going to try and lead them towards the solution, or like I'm going to breadcrumb them towards the fucking like well, and I'm going to edge their little face towards the water, and I can't make them drink, but like what happens if I sprinkled cocaine in the water so it or antifreeze in the water so it tasted really sweet, or having all sorts of ideas where I'm like, oh wow, this is like super manipulative what I'm doing, but there's like absolutely zero there's no intent here. I just need to do this so I can do my job. And in the case of the sad boy, they need to manage their emotions better. And same with most of the white women who cry when they're being not accosted.
Like when they're scared
when
or whatever.
When they're having a heated argument with a black person, but they wouldn't cry if it was a heated argument with a white person. Only the black people get the crying. All of these are behaviors which are extremely pernicious and manipulative. And yet most of them also have no active malice on their side. And it makes it really hard when the mere mention of the word manipulation causes everybody's hackles to get up. So I wish that it didn't. And I think that we should be more cognizant of our behavior and if we're being manipulative, and also cut ourselves some slack if we are, because it's just the way that we are as people who need things and want other people to do things that we want,
Manipulation, as we're talking about in the broader sense, is mostly just learned behavior. And when we're trying to teach people about that learned behavior actually exists, because we all learned that just through life in this culture, like we learn that through trial and error, but you might not recognize it. We need to make sure that everybody knows it's manipulation isn't necessarily evil.
Yep, I agree. Hey, people who listen to our podcast. This is an interlude in our conversation about manipulation. Here to manipulate you into giving us money, if you will, a trade offer. We give you dank content, and you give us a means of sustaining life, aka money, which we can buy food and shelter with. Tell them the details, Janra.
If you want to support the show, ko-fi.com/saythiscast, and you can give us a one-time donation. And if you would like to do a continuing thing, then patreon.com/saythiscast. There you'll be able to get the episode early. We have extra episodes. We have like 7 or 8 episodes, extra episodes that go up there. Really interesting conversations and continuing conversations from other episodes, things like that. So check that out. Patreon.com/saythiscast. And thank you to everybody that supports us in any way, even if it's just sharing our YouTube videos or sharing our podcasts to everybody. That also helps us a lot.
But if you liked the show, you would pay us. Which is a red flag. If anybody ever says you would, if you loved me, you would do this, or if you enjoyed this, you would do this, run.
We're not.
I'm doing it as a joke because I want to do a teachable moment. This is a bit.
Yeah, this is a bit. Yeah,
I'm not your fucking friend unless I am literally your friend. Some of my friends listen to this, but like, you know who you are.
Thank you, everybody. If you want to support us and help us like buy more technology and programs to help us produce the show better, then patreon.com/saythiscast.
And food and water. We can't sustain ourselves without your contribution.
Now you're being manipulative again.
I know. I have a job. I'm fine. Give us money if you want.
I don't, but I'm okay.
I was about to say. That was gonna be real problematic. He's disabled. He needs your contribution. Oh no!
I can't work, so I need your contribution, or else I'll be in a ditch. Because society is ableist, and because of that, I need your.
I need you to pay us right now. Patreon.com/saythiscast.
Please, before I starve.
Oh no! Oh no!
We're terrible people.
joking. Please don't.
Okay, that's good. There are happy things that happen in our lives. Isn't that right, Nicole?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not? And we're going to talk about some of them. I don't have a smart opening. I'm just going to talk about stuff. So, Nicole, what's making you happy? Let's bring some positivity into the show here.
Did I talk about Wrath of the dumb fucks last week? I did.
What?
Wrath of the
Talk about kitten game.
Oh, did I talk about Wrath of the Righteous?
I don't know.
So I'm rediscovering my joy of my love and joy of ABBA music. So ABBA is a if you do not know, they did all of the music in Mamma Mia. That is why that musical exists. Yeah. And they have a very eclectic catalog. Just if you listen to them on Spotify, just on like shuffle for a hour, you will hear so many genres.
Dancing Queen. If you don't know ABBA, then they did Dancing Queen. That's what most people know, I think.
Yeah, just really good music. And my dad, my dad really likes ABBA. He loves ABBA. It's a whole thing. He loves ABBA. I'm not kidding.
A black man.
A black man. He loves it.
Like an older black man loves ABBA.
When we took road trips as children, that was the soundtrack. He had the complete collection, and he would play it like literally on loop. I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up 3 hours later. ABBA both times.
That's so odd. Like, how did he have formed such a connection with ABBA?
He's a complex man.
Clearly.
Yeah. He is a man who is not bound by the normative masculine trends that bind so many of our black kings in our community. He's just a guy of culture who likes all sorts of but you know, we would listen to these songs all the time around the house, on road trips, absolutely everywhere. And over the years, I developed like choreography to all of their like big hits, and I know all of the words, and I'll forget that they exist for a really long time, and then I'll say, you want to know what song I fucking love? SOS. And then I'll play it and I'll go, damn, this is a banger. I love ABBA. I'm gonna listen to exclusively ABBA for 1 month. And I'm in one of those feedback loops right now. Where I'm listening to ABBA a lot and during work, and it is really nice because ABBA is just straight heat. Every single song, absolute banger. And they're coming out with new music, which is exciting for me because it's That's ABBA. Awesome. And they still sound pretty good. Wild. So I love Jesus. ABBA. If you don't love ABBA, get the fuck into it. ABBA's amazing. This is an ABBA stan podcast. ABBA's making me happy this week. Also, there's a gacha game called World Flipper. I have complicated feelings about gachas and complicated ideas about my financial situation in regards to gachas. However, I'm having a lot of fucking fun with this gacha game because it's a pinball game.
Ooh.
And it's cooperative, and there's just a lot of ways to keep you into it. So most gacha games, you burn through your stamina, and that's it until you get more stamina. One, stamina regenerates really fucking fast in this game, and number two, you can pretty much infinitely do co-op missions, and there's just some really smart design decisions that make it really easy to like just keep playing and playing and playing as much as you want. Kind of a problem, a little bit addicted. But I'm also having a really good time, and I'm not addicted in any sort of way that matters. So
can you play ABBA while playing this game? Just
that's how I spend my breaks at work.
ABBA is pretty badass. It's kind of ABBA is kind of like Journey.
Yeah.
And like both of them are like riding what are they? Like a jet ski.
Yeah.
Like you can't be mad riding a jet ski.
True.
Like you can't be like upset.
It's
like
super white. But do you care?
Fuck no.
It's exactly. Good. ABBA's super white, but it just goes to show that that white people are capable of culture. You want to know what white culture is? It's ABBA and it slaps. So, what's making you happy, Janra?
This conversation.
Clearly.
I mean, I'll tell you this story before I go in mine. I used to live with like a couple of my friends like in this like 2-bedroom apartment. They would be in one room, I'd be the other, and they were out one time. They were out in the living room, and I had my earphones on, and Dancing Queen came on, and apparently I was singing it at the top of my lungs, like really loud, and then they were like Janra. I'm like, what's wrong? You know what? Keep going, Dancing Queen. And I was like, yeah.
That's so cute. You can dance. You can just having the time.
Okay, this is now. Yeah, this is definitely. Like we will
I'll sit here and sing the whole thing.
Hell yeah, we will. Okay, you know what? Let's say if we get 50 likes on this video, then we'll go through the whole thing.
Sure, I'll do that. I'm game.
Let's go. All right. So my thing is I use Reaper to edit this podcast and all the podcasts I do and everything. It's a great program. I love using it. And there is a thing called the Reaper blog where they put out videos with like tips and explanations, and they go through like different stuff. A little while ago, they put out this video where they had a guest person, and it was this guy from a channel called Reaper for Podcasting. And his whole thing is that he edits podcasts professionally, and every time he tries to look up something for Reaper, like a plugin or a trick or a tip or anything like that, if everything is geared towards music, and he's like, I don't need that, I just need stuff for voice. So he said, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and just have podcast tips. And I discovered that, and it is so freaking awesome. It is goddamn awesome. I have learned a ton about different functions and different stuff in Reaper, and I just speaking of supporting the show, like we just were able to purchase a plugin for me that will really help edit the podcast. Hopefully, I'm going to try it on this show actually. So this has been really, really cool. I love learning more about Reaper and about editing in general, and because it's something that really that's really, really interesting, and can really brighten my day when I learn new stuff about it.
I'm so fucking happy for you.
What'd you say?
I'm so fucking happy for you. That was adorable.
I'm just being adorable today? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. It's just, you're very enthusiastic today. It's cute. Call your friends cute.
Listen, I'm trying here. All right. I mean, the main thing is that I really like being able to do stuff like this, and being able to create and be creative and put out something that hopefully will help people. And being able to do that better, being able to do that faster so I can do other stuff like this, it's really great. So anytime I learn about a new plugin or anything like that, then it's really cool. I'm actually going to be looking up more about this and hopefully looking into getting other plugins for editing that I wasn't able to get before because I couldn't afford it. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to I Shouldn't Have to Say This. We put our episodes out twice a week. So if you go to saythiscast.com, you can listen to our past episodes. All of our episodes are pretty evergreen. So if you are bored or you're cleaning the house or something, then just put on I Shouldn't Have to Say This and listen for the
Just
past.
absolutely go to town on your floors.
Yeah, go crazy on it. Just go wild.
Hog wild.
Buck wild. Yeah.
No, hog wild.
Hog wild. Okay, I thought you said buck wild.
No.
Anyway, God damn it.
I apologize.
This episode has been so off the rails. We have been
Absolutely.
recording for 2 hours. we're at the silly point. Anyway, so thanks for listening. If you like the music that's playing right now and at the beginning of the episode, it's called Katamari Teino. It is by the One Ups, and if you want to purchase that, then there's going to be a link in the description. If you like the song in the midpoint, then that is called You're in Valley Town. That's by Mustin. So check that out. store.mustenenterprises.com for all this, basically. Nicole, where can we find you online?
In your hopes and dreams, saythiscast.com. And also Twitter at Jack of Three Trades. 3 is in the number.
That's right. And I'm at Press Start Lock on Twitter. So you can check that out there. And you can check out the other podcasts that I do at planetsidepodcasts.com. That'll work.
I'm calling it done.
That'll work. It's just sometimes we record for so long that we get to this point where it just everything's dumb and it's really fun.